Flyover State of Film was shot in front of a live studio audience.
And then we'll go into this movie, and we'll talk about this movie for 5 minutes, and then we'll pick the next movie.
No, I got more than 5 minutes of shit to say about this movie. This was my second watch. This is actually a second watch for me. So.
This is my second watch.
It's my mic.
I had a vibe going in, and I got to confirm my bias by watching it again.
So,
cut to my reaction when Joe said the title of the movie.
I don't remember, but
New York. Charlie
Oh
Kaufman,
my God,
Synecdoche,
Joe,
New York.
you fucked up.
Yeah, I have actually watched this.
I watched it once.
Oh my God,
Yeah. Well, I'll leave it to the tail end to re-give the explanation.
Oh no, that's fine. It's good. You need a change of energy sometimes. You know, it's important.
Good movie. It's a fine movie.
Well, I'm gonna say I'm sure we're gonna get into the production and the cast and stuff. There's things to say about it that are beyond, but it's one of those. Yeah, well, there's plenty to say. I think more than 5 minutes, but not more than 15.
Yeah, it's not R&R where it's like, you guys should release this separately. Okay, let's we're recording. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Welcome back to Flyover State of Film. I almost said fear because that's normally what I'm leading into these days. What's up, guys? How you been? We get a little bit off. We had an interesting break. I got TJ, Yusuf, and Brian with me. How's everyone doing?
Hey, TJ's alive, so we're good.
I'm alive.
Oh,
yeah.
sweet
Well,
ginger baby. Can't let him go
today.
until anything happens to him.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, he's alive.
Yes.
Things on the doobly-doo and,
Gonna follow us all. Yeah, no, but recently I know we all, I think we all caught up the new Predator movie.
At least two of us did. We released content.
And you guys released
that content, baby.
That compared The Gray Man to Prey. Didn't watch The Gray Man. I thought about watching.
Watch Prey a second time instead.
I thought about watching that other new Netflix one though. That not once bitten the
Day Shift. It's fun.
It's fun.
I watched that. Day Shift is fun.
Cool.
Just with the right mindset. It's like a silly, actually, it can't not to be taken too seriously, but it knows what it is and it does it well. So
good. That's all we need. That's a good late night movie. But having said that, Brian, you kind of proposed a good question for us.
Well, I mean, it's the question everybody started asking on Twitter, literally immediately after everybody finished Prey, which was, where do you send a Predator next? What historical warrior do you want to see a Predator go up against, right? There's lots of, in fact, do you guys ever remember that show? It was on the History Channel where they would simulate, two historical warriors and what it's like to fight each other. Take half of that and make the other half a Predator. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
And anyone can start. It's free. Like I said, go ahead, Yusuf, do it.
So we usually see bare bones warriors playing, prey to see what I said that did there to the predators. But I kind of want to see the Mongols. This huge army of pure savages, smart, conquerors, and just one, maybe two predators try to survive a full-on attack by Genghis Khan's army. That would be pretty cool.
I like that where you put the predators on on the defensive and like do the kind of Alamo thing where it's like so many people. They're talking about waves of like literally.
Yeah, kind of like the two towers, and then they just keep
Yeah.
coming,
Yeah,
and
that's rad.
the
I like
predators are
that.
just trying to hold on to for dear life.
I'm into
That'd
that.
be cool. I mean, yeah, and you could have like multiple like different angles coming about it, not just like
Well,
this one, which is very isolated.
This one was like 1700s, right? The Prey.
Yeah.
When's the Mongols? I don't know history, so help me out here.
Well, I'm gonna say like they don't
13th century,
100% say this is
14th
like the first. They
So they
hint that it
probably
might be the
even
first, but it could be earlier. We don't
So
know.
Predator
We're gonna
probably
pretend that just open up any time period. You can feel free to use it.
I answered this way different.
Yeah, the Mongols are like 1200, 1300, something like that.
Damn, that's I was saying that because the Predator in this one obviously was more primitive. So like that one would obviously have to be like throwing rocks.
I mean, I guess you're gonna get to a point where you're back too far and they don't do interstellar travel anymore.
But also, like,
but in theory, let's just I'm fine with leaving it open to any time period for now.
I think they could just get creative too with like, not just rocks. I'm sure they'll make some shit up of like they made spears and same thing, same formula the last one did.
Yeah.
I was thinking, and I don't know if it's not sensitive or not, I don't know, but like
Go on.
Underground Railroad, there's a predator afoot.
Oh, okay.
During the slave trade.
You want their slaves, they're already on the run, and now they have to outrun a predator also. You want to make runaway slaves the prey.
Like they don't have enough problems.
No.
Get the trimmers out. Get the
There's
trimmers
a
out for this
twist.
one.
There's a twist. The predator is going after like the slave owners, and the slaves realize like the last movie is not a threat.
So actually, it ends up that the predator is like an ally. He clears the way and helps them get away.
But he's still bad enough where there is a showdown with the predator.
Okay. So there's like one.
So the predator was Abraham Lincoln. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
just a little bit. I'm not 100%, but that Day Shift movie might take place in the Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter universe. I'm not sure, but it might. Anyway, I think this is probably the most obvious answer because we got a taste of it in Predators, but like a samurai, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Feudal Japan. And like I said, take the time constraint out of it.
Dude,
but like,
it could be in Ronin.
I think we already like found our stripped down version of a Predator. Like, and once you take away the plasma laser weapons, he is pretty much just a Earth warrior with really good gear. Like, he has the laser sighting. That's really the only thing outside of that and the cloaking. So you could like chip away those, you know what I mean? And each successive, if you went farther back, you could just take away that stuff. But I feel like most of his equipment is stuff that's feasible, now that the plasma weapon is kind of taken. Once that shoulder cannon's off the table.
Yeah.
I mean, they use that as basically in all the movies, or if you somehow take that out of the equation, you somewhat even the odds like with aliens, and like they use in the new one too, where they take the scoping off the helmet, stuff like that. Spoilers, you can fucking see Prey, go see Prey.
My favorite part about Prey was actually the deconstructed like skull helmet.
Which I felt like was again, there's things in that Prey, but like that feels like a nod to Predators, where he's got the jawbone on his mask and stuff. There's just like little things. They were really smart about not necessarily discounting any. They tied it for sure to Predator 2, but like they made sure not to do the Halloween thing of like throwing everything out the window. Like they're still gonna pick and choose. That way, if they feel like they want to bring an element back because it worked, they can. It was a good idea.
I agree.
Sorry.
It's almost like we should do a flyby.
Yeah. Well, that was like a mini version of like what I said.
Shoes are looking nice.
Get a taste.
I answered this kind of differently because I just took in my head like, who do you want to see the Predator fight? Like a movie character?
Helen Keller.
That's okay.
No, well, Joe, you are on timeout.
Twitter also asked that question the other day. Fictional character you want to see the Predator fight?
Yeah, so like first person popped in my head obviously was the dad from Mac and Me, because I feel like he'd give the Predator a run for his money. But I just thought like he shot a kid.
You know what? I actually like that because it's a great opportunity for me to see that character receive a very brutal murder.
Is he wearing his suit?
Oh yeah,
his court suit.
Yeah, that's what he gets into when he knows what's about to go down because he knows it's
Church
better.
suit,
He's
Joe, please.
Oh,
Oh,
I forgot Court was in
that's
church.
terrible.
but if I want to answer it kind of like you guys, I'm just gonna say I don't know why, but I just think it would be funny if you just have him like go up against like a Brady Bunch style nuclear family. Just have like the dad or the mom just end up
It's
coming
like
up on top.
Predator in the Brady house. Just should be popping off.
Yeah, one camera.
How about Malcolm in the middle, though? Because I feel like that family has a chance.
The mom definitely would kill him.
For real, the Malcolm in the middle family could maybe take a Predator. If there's all of them.
Yeah.
I thought this is not. Now we're really like this is really stretching the limits of would they even be able to do interstellar travel? But what about like a totally stripped down like caveman style Predator with just a spear versus dinosaurs?
Have you seen
I think
the dinosaurs win.
that cartoon on
Primal? Yes, of course. I'm talking about Primal. That's what gave me the idea. God damn it, that's the best thing. It's like my favorite show ever now.
So good. It's very Samurai Jack, but I think slightly better.
Well, it's like a purified form. He literally like no dialogue. We're going stripping down like it's all emotion, all visceral action, no dialogue. Primal's really good. It's on HBO Max. Everybody, check it out.
Cool. So it won't be on there in like 3 weeks?
Yeah, better check it out now.
I'm actually I was thinking of like next gift just sending everyone the bootleg version of Prey from one of those sites on one of those Blu-ray sites.
I've heard rumor that there might be a physical release in November.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's just a rumor. That's a Twitter rumor. That's it.
Brian is in the know. That's what happens when you
do. Now, to be fair, there are some a lot of streaming releases that are just movies, not shows, do get physical releases. Like that Mark Wahlberg movie that came out to Apple Plus, that got a physical release. Stuff.
Father Stew?
No, the action one, the sci-fi action one.
Here Comes Daddy.
Yeah, I know it so well I can't tell you the name. I just remember it existed and I saw it at a Target. But things you wouldn't necessarily expect. And something like that's part of a franchise, I could see getting a physical release.
Don't Google my past.
There was literally I was listening to the amount of like movies that are coming out on streamers that you've never hear of. Like I was listening to Andrew Santino talk about a movie he's in with Mark Wahlberg and fucking Kevin Hart, and I'm like. I was like, oh, it's not releasing for another week, but I'm like, why? I think it's like Game On or something like that. It's on Netflix. It's gonna be on no one has. And I was like, oh, those are two big names that I'm sure would.
Netflix doesn't advertise anything. They literally
except Stranger Things.
Drop it. Yeah, Stranger Things is the only thing they put promotion behind.
And Cobra Kai the next month, which I literally was like, that's 3 weeks away. It's September 9th. They're dropping that.
Cobra Kai already? That seems like we just had to Cobra Kai.
5.
It's wild. This is the last season, I hope.
Hopefully, because the previous season I was like,
I like Terry. What's his face coming back?
I think they're just gonna go kind of like. I feel like they're just gonna go the CW. Yeah, the CW
burn it to the ground until nobody else wants it.
Like soap opera kind
of. Grind it out until there's nothing left. I feel like 5th season, bring back Hilary Swank, and then be done.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
That'd be cool. I could see.
Anyway, were we talking about Predators?
No, we were. But anyway,
are we gonna bring back Jackie Chan? If they do, I'm back.
Well, the Prey had a great runtime.
Great job, Joe. Yeah. So the last couple movies that we picked have been what most of us would say are not R&R. R&R was a great film. It just was so long. To me, it was a chore at one point. This movie, you guys will talk about later, but is there, because now you even get streaming shows that are basically hour 19, hour 20 minutes at times now, which used to be the best runtime from me growing up until a certain time. But it's is there a happy medium? Is there something in the middle, or are we just going to be stuck with either a clean 90-minute film or a 3-hour good movie / possible slog fest?
Well, I definitely think that a 2.5-hour movie used to be a much rarer thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You think about everybody talk about how long Titanic is, and that's about 3 hours, but
it'd be special.
Yeah, that was a big deal. But it used to be Braveheart's probably about 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? It's and that used to be, that was a double tape. That was a big one.
It's the new Scorsese's out. It's long and it's really 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're in a place now where, but that also leads to things where you're just like, why is this movie over 2 hours long? That happens so much. But I feel like different genres lend themselves to it. Like comedies and horror movies, 90 minutes. That's a sweet spot. Get in, get out. No
Yeah,
time.
I just watched The Black Phone, and it was like what, an hour 45?
Yeah.
And it worked because the movie has a good pace to it.
Yeah, it was a slightly long though. It was like an hour and 45 minutes too long for my taste.
Oh, fuck, you're making a joke.
I think we have disparaging opinions. Do we want to do a mini review of The Black Phone? Is that what
I enjoyed it. But that's how, you know what, though? That's how Scott Derrickson's other fucking movie felt like, too. Like, or not other, but like Sinister. Good horror movie.
Scott Derrickson, definitely a guy who could appear on this show later tonight.
Good horror movie, 20 minutes too long.
Fair.
How long is Sinister?
Sinister is an hour 50.
So that movie's like about an hour and 50 minutes too long, too.
I just watched 10 Cloverfield Lane. 10 Cloverfield Lane by Dan Trachtenberg, who did Prey. Definitely a movie that is fully 20 minutes too long. Yeah. But you can just skip that. I was watching it and it was so good. And she gets out of the bunker and then I was like, and you're in the car driving home. Bye, there you go. That's all it took. So
it
makes that movie like plus it makes that movie like a 70-minute banger. You can just sit down and just like puff and burn through it.
I don't think there's like a right or wrong answer to your question, TJ. I don't think there is necessarily a sweet spot because it truly depends on the movie. But to circle back to the original point of like why are movies so long, I think it's like the attention span. Like everything now, it's in streaming, and everybody can binge watch 10 to 12 hours of series. And I feel like Hollywood is trying to justify you going to the theater. Like, hey, this is like 2 hours.
To show you an epic, yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 hours plus worth of content, but you better come over here and watch this shit.
But then the filmmakers got like Cameron coming out against people complaining about the length of the movie and being like, oh, they sit down at home and watch 4 or 5 episodes of a show, fundamentally missing the point that like you can pause that if there's breaks in between the episodes. Like
you're not supposed to sit there and watch them all at once.
You're doing something.
Why are you being willfully ignorant about this? You know that's not what we're talking about, dude.
It was also last night the Better Call Saul finale was on, right? And they because that's the most viewers AMC is going to get for like 2 years. So they stretched a finale that was probably 45 minutes to an hour and a half with commercials. But like I could pause, I could get up, I could go do shit like in that length of time.
Yeah, and also like like I think the second half of the question is like the pacing, right? Of a movie,
3-hour movie that's paced right feels great.
Like I know that we talk about it a lot, especially like Joe brings it up every now and again. But Zodiac is a very fucking long movie. There's barely any action in it, but the pacing and the way that it's delivered and edited, it makes it feel like you're watching almost an action movie. Like it just goes from scene to scene to scene to scene to scene, and suddenly you're like, "Fuck, that was 2 hours and a half gone." And even in action movies, it could be a deter of like Matrix Revolution. Like there's a shit ton of action in that movie, but it's super badly paced. The action sequences like overstay their welcome, and it gets to a point.
We were talking about that with the Gray Man, same thing. Like some action sequences didn't even start out good. By the end, they turned to sloppy CGI mess. And you're just like, your movie.
Can I know you guys did your episode on the Gray Man. Can I just tell you, like, I met the worst person in the world a couple weeks ago on a bachelor party, a horrible person, and he was hyping up the Gray Man of being like this crazy action movie, and I thought, I know not to talk to you. Not trust you, talk to you. Because he was like, dude, I love movies. Do you guys watch The Gray Man? It was sick. And I was like,
bro, I love movies. You're in trouble already. When you hit up with bro, I love movies.
And I was like, can't wake up sooner.
Dude, we came out of watching Bullet Train, and I was taking a piss next to two bros. And they were like, I did not expect all those cameos, bro. It was so sick. It made the movie so much fun. And I was like, cameos did it for you? Like, you got a boner because you saw a famous person?
That I know we're getting far away from that, but that's the same fucking brain as people that have of like, oh, nothing. Well, I've never heard cameos be like, But like that one scene, great movie. Like it's 2.5 hours of boring, and there's one scene where a guy gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
Yeah.
like
You
it's
love that one moment so much, like.
Well, how about I had a thought, but since nobody's giving examples, I'm gonna give another one.
Oh, I had an example. I started talking about something else.
No, but Lord of the Rings 1 and 2 versus Lord of the Rings 3. What do you consider the pacing of those first two versus the pacing of the third? All of them are great movies. All of them are about equal runtime, but the pacing of the third really weighs you down compared to the pacing of 1 and 2.
Yeah.
It's really because the ending, because the way they have to, like, the first two get to leave you with a big action scene and a cliffhanger, and the third one has the job of wrapping everything up.
Yeah.
And in this movie, wrapping everything up entailed like 4 or 5 different epilogues to tell you about what different characters were up to. So it's like, it's kind of the burden of the third movie. It's, you know, like, and that's why a lot of trilogies, a lot of people rag on the third movie in a trilogy. It's like third movie in a trilogy has a hard job to do. You know?
Yeah.
It's not easy.
The worst one of all time, because they split it in two, and it should have been an hour and 30 minutes, is the last Hunger Games.
Ooh, I never watched it.
I thought that about the last 3 Harry Potter movies are fucked up.
Yeah,
I know it's based on
there's
the
a
books,
trend.
but like the it's like the 6th one, and then the 7th one is split into 2 parts, right?
Mhm.
So the 6th one is like really crammed full of way too much, and then the first part of the 7th one is really empty and boring, and then again the last one is crammed with more. It's like you need to chop all 3 of those movies up and mix up your scenes and put them back together, which I know is hard to do when you're adapting a book, but it's just like it. Again, there's like, so it's not even that the movie was bad, but it's like overstuffed. It's like you're
Yeah.
missing
so
out on-
Harry
it's
Potter.
the 6th one, like, and that really adds to the conversation of what we're trying to discuss is like the pacing and the editing and how people lay it out. Like the 6th one that you're referencing in the Harry Potter, like they focus on all the wrong things. Like who gives a fuck about the love lives? Who gives a fuck? It's like we're talking about Snape's history. We're talking about Voldemort's history. We're talking about that conclusion coming to a head. Everybody betraying each other. The death of
Start a Harry Potter show, dude. Start a Harry Potter show. All right.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Well, I'm just saying the Harry Potter has the reverse effect of what I mentioned, the Hunger Games, because Harry Potter at least had shit they had to trim down on it. Hunger Games was a really thin book that they stretched into 2
the
movies
Hobbit
to make.
thing where they stretched the Hobbit into 3 movies.
What about
like,
Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2?
Well, there's that cool vampire fight in Twilight too, so sure. TJ,
And the baby. You cannot forget about the baby.
No, hold on, the movie I wanted, the most classic example, which is like a movie that should be, it's a 2.5 hour drama, and it came out in the mid '90s at a time when, and it became everybody's favorite fucking movie, is The Shawshank Redemption. Like, that's a movie that is very long, but I personally never felt the length of. I feel like the scenes, it's paced out right. It's just, the movie moves really well, and like and I always felt that way, and I think, you know, history bore that out. But again, it's that thing of like, it came out at a time when a 2.5 hour movie was not the norm. You know,
I mean, that movie's full of those like vignettes, so it's cut up perfectly for cable. That's why it's running all the fucking time. TJ, what is your like sweet, like what would your like sweet spot be? I guess like taking an epic out of the conversation, just like a normal.
You guys, all the movies I like to watch, they're probably all within like a clean 90 to like 145 at the most, and some of them are shorter than that. It'd be like 119 or not 119. Jesus Christmas.
Well, we know
like 80s movies. 80s movies are real short if you like go back and check out like some of the real.
There's lots of them that are like 88 minutes out the door. You know,
I'm with it.
Like we've done so many fucking movies in this podcast, and every time you guys pick something, I go to the runtime, and if I see 90 minutes, even if it's good or bad, I go like, give me that sweet runtime.
Well, it won't be Flyover without mentioning the perfectly length and paced movie of all time is Child's Play 2.
Jeez.
Comes in under 90. Oh, so good, so sweet.
But I mean, I don't know.
All the Child's Plays are in the 90s, right?
Yeah,
I think the first one might be closer to 140 or something like that.
That one moves. I mean, that one has a little
that
drag.
one flips too, I think.
The entire Friday 13 franchise. The
Can't.
entire fucking franchise. Sweet
Those
90
you feel the
minutes.
length.
That's
You
why
feel
I
the length.
love like Friday the 13th on any Friday the 13th. I always because you can burn through like 3 Friday the 13th movies in an evening, no sweat. You're just like pop one on and they just go.
Speaking of that, I just realized we have to pick our Halloween movies soon. So to give us the
wait,
time,
hold on. We haven't even decided on the format of the show this year.
I know.
Don't tease the people.
I
We're
will
not
tease.
ready for that.
The drunkest I've ever been on camera.
So very drunk. All right, so are we ready? What's the next thing?
Yeah, we were fucking
wonders.
blasted. Topic!
Yeah, so
Another
next topic we got one-hit wonder directors, kind of like these runtimes. They could be one-hit wonders. So, Brian, you proposed the question.
Yeah, this was my question, and I'll go ahead and take a low-hanging fruit off the table so we can talk about who I was watching. There's actually 2 people I was watching, but one I finally got Harrison to watch District 9 with me. Fucking incredible! I haven't watched it in too long. It's one of those ones. When you have kids, you got to play it. It's like if you recommend a movie, they got to kind of find it on their own sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't push it too hard. So I finally got around to watching it.
That's not even with kids. That happens with my spouse as well.
Yeah.
Like there's
same.
multiple time where I go like, you should watch this movie. It's very good. And she's like, yeah. And then like 2 years later, she's like, have you heard of this movie? It's like, yeah, I recommend that.
She in her case, it's somebody she works with for Harrison. It's like a YouTuber needs to mention it or something so that I can get the cred. Whatever, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, no, we tried watching that. You weren't into it. Oh, well, I sat down and watched it. So-and-so recommended it.
Yeah.
You bitch.
Fine.
But anyway, we're watching it, and Neil Blomkamp is like the lowest hanging fruit. This guy came in hot like a fucking, like a red hot comet burning through the atmosphere with his first movie, and then just diminishing returns subsequently on and on and on.
Chappy, man.
To the point where I've heard that the most recent movie is like almost unwatchable. I keep waiting around to watch it for free because it's only on like Showtime. So eventually I'll get around to seeing it, I think.
What's the name?
It's called Demonic. I think it came out in 2020 or 2021.
It was like an independent release, right? Like he uploaded it on
maybe, I don't know. It's not like I said, it's on Showtime now, but that's one of the streamers I don't have access to. So eventually I'll get around to it, but I've heard not great things. And
Chappy,
I'm
man.
excited.
Chappy was great.
Well, or even Elysium. Elysium was a cool idea, like the big
all cool ideas.
And the execution is just not great. It's not there. So anyway, I was watching him and I was thinking, who are some other one-hit wonder directors? People who have one great movie, but everything else in their history is kind of wow. Yusuf would like to go first again. Yeah. Apparently,
chatty tonight.
Yeah.
Michael Lehman, Heathers. Heathers is a wonderful movie that if you watch it, you go like, oh, this director has like a very specific voice. He's very dark. He has great humors. He's very fun with his visuals. The editing is quirky. Like how you would expect multiple, if not at least one more good dark humor from him. And there's nothing. Like he does Hudson Hawk. And then
he did Hudson Hawk?
Yeah, and then he just directs a shit ton of TV. Like he just disappeared into TV. Like people were like, hey, you're good here. Stay
good enough. This is for you now. He slides you off.
Make a living. Like my dude probably has a great bank account.
Oh, absolutely.
With all the TV shows that he's
done. Working stiff. I'm sure he's making bank.
But Heathers is like honestly one of my favorite movies of all time. Is like a very basic bitch answer to say, but it honestly is a fun movie that I like to watch.
It's really great. I saw something, I can't remember the name of the director when I was looking up for answers about this same type of thing. He popped up for like one good movie, and then everything else it was mostly like music videos, and then like he has a couple other movies, but nothing notable. You know what I mean? And like mostly just, like came up from videos, did one movie, and was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going back to music videos.
Gotta make that money, baby. But yeah.
So in the pre-show, Brian said like actor is not really counting, but I have seen both of his movies. So Tom Hanks with That Thing You Do, like he puts out this fantastic fucking movie.
Never seen it.
And then I just want to get the years right because I did pull it up. What's That Thing You Do is 96. So in 2011, so he waits well over 10 years to make his next movie in Larry Crown, and that is and he puts himself in Larry Crown as a starring role. That is a slog of a rom-com with him and Julia Roberts. Like I think the only thing anyone remembers that one is they're on a moped on the cover and in all the trailers.
Oh yeah.
Very forgettable. But yeah, that thing, like, I would like to see Tom Hanks, like, maybe get that streaming money and make another that thing you do of, like, I don't know, that guy seems like has a lot of weird passions. Like,
A lot
Another
of
World War
actors
II
who like
movie.
try out direct. I think there's actors out there who like thought they wanted to direct, and then they do it once or twice, and they're like, "No, I'm good. Like it's a
Yeah.
lot of work, and I'm just gonna go back to being an actor or whatever." Like,
What about this, Joe? When they eventually do the live action Woody, he can direct that.
You know,
And then Chris Pratt can voice it.
well, if Chris Pratt's voicing it, then it's a hit.
He'll probably fight for the rights of his female co-stars to get the same merchandising money that he got. Because
Yeah.
he's such a good guy.
He's a
it
good
doesn't really
dude.
matter
He's a
who
good dude.
voiced Mario, though.
Well,
I was
it's-
go see it no matter what.
Actually, looking at the Hanks IMDb, though, directing, though, so he tried his first directorial in Tales from the Crypt episode, which makes sense. You know, I think he was like, that's a Zemeckis connection, you know, sure, come on in. Then, and then I guess there was a League of Their Own TV show before the new one.
Really?
Like there's probably, that's what it says here, The Monkey's Curse, one episode, TV series, 1993.
Weird.
So
The
it must,
Monkey's Curse?
that's the name of the episode. Like, it must
Oh,
have
I was
been,
like, what? That's a
What a
fucking
weird
wild
name for a
name for
spin-off.
a spin-off.
it must have been,
A League
you
of Their
know,
Own
just
didn't test well. How about a Monkey's Curse?
Monkey's Curse. You know.
who the fuck knows what that is? Probably someone probably can't like get a good swing in or some shit like that.
Saw a monkey in the stand.
But yeah, so I wanted, because there's like some obvious ones which I'll wait for honorable mentions. But like, TJ, who you got?
I was thinking about like Zack Snyder, Dawn of the Dead. No, I'm not gonna go down that hole.
Well,
That was almost on my list, but I like
I think
300 too.
Okay,
I like Watchmen. I like Man of Steel.
Yeah, I like Watchmen too. Yeah.
that was a joke though.
I know.
No,
But, like,
I thought about him. I was like, can I get a dig? Is that?
I think we need a hot take pick.
But just like what Brian was saying, this guy does music videos. More known for that. He only did one movie. He doesn't. It's not like he has anything bad after this. At least in his filmography, doesn't say he's done anything direct-wise for film.
One hit wonder, whatever that means to you.
Tony Kaye for American History X.
Oh yeah.
That might have been the guy I was looking at actually.
Well, I just
saw
watched
his name too.
2 days ago, and I'm just like, I saw on the list, and I was like, oh yeah, it's genius because I love that movie, but like I've never heard.
So I've looked into him before. Did he get blackballed, like blacklisted, or whatever the phrase is? Because
he didn't get another movie because of that.
And I only say that because I think it's one of those things with like he wanted a certain cut put out and they didn't. I actually think Edward Norton's the person that like disavowed him as a director and took control of like the cut. And that might be completely like made up in my head.
No,
but
I can see that. Edward Norton definitely was the guy who was throwing his weight around in that era.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Actually, I don't have any information on this list I have next to me, but I think it's something weird like that where, you know, basically Norton had clout at that time, and I think he was probably like, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing he tried to pull on Incredible Hulk, basically, and then they were like, nah, we can hire a different Hulk, dude.
Yeah. You know what? Norton's another one-hit wonder, or not director, because I haven't seen, was that Motherless Brooklyn, but Keeping the Faith is a solid rom-com. He directed that, him and Ben Stiller, a priest and a rabbi.
I forgot about that. Where
Jenna
there's
Elfman.
a buddy priests.
My mom loves that movie.
It's a priest and a rabbi, right?
Yeah, it's a priest and a rabbi fall in love with the
So
same
good.
girl from like childhood, and you know, it's Jenna Elfman, and the
Kids
rabbi.
today don't understand what like the gems we were getting in the '90s. Just like
Gems, yeah.
Talking about silly movie covers, that one's like them on like all their like the almost like the Friends drinking milkshakes on the fucking poster. Not really, but you know they have like the Laverne and Shirley heads, I think, all up together.
You said title card. In our,
I'm picturing like them both, like him with the with the collar, and Ben Stiller maybe looking, I don't know how a young hip rabbi might look, and like walking down the street, kind of like a Hager Slacks ad.
He has
looking at each other and talking to each other.
It's even better. It's
yarmulke, but it's like sideways. He has a yarmulke, but like
It's even better. I'm gonna share my screen for the viewers at home.
Better close out your tabs.
Oh wow!
It's
Yeah,
even better.
There's the picture I'm thinking of them in the sunglasses walking down the street. That's what I'm thinking of.
Like imagine
and that's Jenna Elfman. What's so funny too is that's Jenna Elfman. She's a Scientologist, so like they're really getting into the whole. Like they got a lot going on with this movie.
He's very blonde. Like
imagine
he's very blonde.
Imagine you know, you're like, oh, what's this movie? They're just having so much fun.
This is made around the same time as that. What the hell is the movie where he's blonde?
This is 2000. Oh, stuff. Yeah, same year. That's a Smoochie.
Should we always just record our podcast this way? We have IMDb open, and we're just tiny people in the corners.
Come on.
Whoever's
that's
hosting
Smoochies,
has
I
to
think,
do
the
a
same year,
PowerPoint
TJ.
presentation, and then you're just gonna show your PowerPoint presentation to the class.
I used to love making PowerPoints, man.
I do it for a living, so sure, let's do it.
That is what
I don't want to do it anymore.
But yeah, I mean, so that was a joke. But any honorable mentions? Anyone?
Oh, sure.
No, I didn't look up. I know.
There's some obvious ones, I think.
We can do another round. There were people that okay, here's one that I was like, is this guy, I mean, I know he has one hit as in financial, but does he actually have one good movie? And this guy was on the list even before Joker. Todd Phillips. Like, what's his best movie? Old School?
Old School Road.
Dude,
I'm just naming Old School Road
my
Trip.
wife tried to rewatch Old School, and she could not get through it.
It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough.
It aged
I watched it recently, and it made me laugh, but I was watching it with Harrison, so it's kind of like one of those, like, I was just in a juvenile mindset, kind of like...
And she used to love that movie. She's like, what the fuck was I watching when I was younger? What is this shit?
Well, the only thing I ever remember about Old School was, I not remember the whole movie, is the DVD unrated, the menu
the
is
screen, because it had titties right on the screen.
Right there, and you
just on the home screen, ready to go.
But...
Yeah, my boy, Blue!
No, my honorable mention, which I thought someone was going to pick, was Richard Kelly and Donnie Darko. I recently watched Donnie Darko, and just like the movie we're going to talk about later, me younger was kind of right, not into it.
It's not your thing.
Not my thing, but Richard Kelly, like, what, did two
Oh,
movies?
they're trying to reappraise Southland Tales too, and it sucks.
Oh, remember recently you're ripping on me for that.
There's no way that you could re-edit what's in that movie to a good movie. Like, it's bad.
I bought the re-edited hour release of Southland Tales when that was a recent topic. I was watching it. Laura sat down and she goes, yeah, maybe this is just bad because this looks bad. And I was like, no, trying to explain, but like, no, maybe. And then by the end of the movie, it was like, yeah, it was a waste. Does anyone want my DVD?
Rough. That's
rough. Topic?
No, wait, I got a couple more directors I want to shit on.
More. We got time, baby. We're in really good time.
No rush. What about Duncan Jones, Moon?
Yeah, Moon's phenomenal.
Like, I just rewatched Warcraft. Right? It's like fine. It's like whatever.
I've never seen.
It's just a very bland fantasy movie. It doesn't really have anything special to it.
The Amish one, which is god awful.
Which one was that?
The futuristic Amish, the guy from
is that Mute?
Mute.
Yeah, that wasn't good. That was quite bad.
Horrible. Moon is amazing. Moon's
incredible.
Moon's
incredible movie. So he's got it in him, but as of right now, one hit wonder, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he might just have something on deck. I remember them talking about something then. I don't know if they're talking about a Warcraft sequel that he was helming, but
no way. Somebody's gonna pump money to a Warcraft sequel in 2022.
That's like the Power.
That's like the flush it down the toilet.
That's like the Power Rangers sequel.
I wish they would do a Power Rangers sequel, man.
That was a solid movie.
It's not a bad. I also had Jared Hess, Napoleon Dynamite.
I like Nacho Libre though.
I only ever saw it once. It didn't really do much for me, but I
had another one too.
He's a one-hit
wonder. I
wonder.
appreciate Jack Black even more now than I did then. So
that's why I revisited it recently, Brian, because I didn't. Once again, when I saw it when I was younger, and then I revisited it this year, and I was like, "Oh no, Jack Black's being a good."
That's the thing. Then you got to ask yourself: am I just enjoying Jack Black, or is this movie worth watching?
I feel like Joe keeps saying when he was younger. It was like what, 5 years ago, Joe?
Joe was younger when Nacho Libre came out. Oh, cool! I was in college.
All right,
married.
Didn't know we were didn't know we were going this way with this podcast again. What is this? What is this, episode 1 through 20?
Yes, remember, one of us old, one is younger, one is Puerto Rican, and a boring one.
No,
One's
he's saying
ginger.
Puerto Rican and boring. You know, that's
Yeah, I was gonna say that's both. That's actually still both, Yusef.
Oh shit. Okay.
You're the ginger.
You're the ginger.
The ginge, baby.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Anybody else
No,
want to shit on? Any other
I think we
careers
just keep
we want
going. Like there's ones like I one of these lists goes up, but like the
Top
guys who made the Blair Witch.
No listicles. Okay, we're done. We're done with this. Bye.
So next up, that's you, Yusuf. What was your?
Yeah. So this movie that we watched is one of those movies that, you know, snobby Twitter film bros would go like,
Pretentious.
"Oh, you've never watched that movie?" And there's a lot of movies that way that, you know, they're talked about constantly in either on Twitter or awards, or critics tend to reference that movie constantly and over again. And it for you, it's created like a barrier. Like you don't even want to watch it because you're like over it being discussed so much. The one that happened to me, and I'm just gonna say it because the reason why I came up with this question is that I saw it that it's on Prime, and I was like, huh. I remember wanting to watch that movie. Maybe I'll watch it, and then I didn't hit play because I was like, it's Licorice Pizza.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was
I do
super
wanna watch
excited to watch that movie. I've watched every single movie from PTA, but people either made it its personality or made it about, oh, he only cast white people. Oh, this is a very racist movie, and it just became like this toxic ball of
Yeah, there's also a thing
conversation.
about like an age gap, like an older
The
girl
age
and a
gap
younger.
was the one that more stood out, but
The
like I
age
get it.
gap,
Yeah.
racist, because there's a character who's like a character who's married to an Asian woman, but is like racist in that way of like,
Yeah.
I'm a white guy who's married to an Asian, so I can kind of say things, and even though I sound like I'm, you know, Bill Burr is what I'm saying. I'm talking about Bill Burr.
It was also just like this. I don't know. He has such great movies. To me, it was like when I saw it, it wasn't even any of that. It was just like the weakest of his movies. Like I didn't give a shit about the coming
What's
of
it? Did
age
you
of these
guys
two
anybody love
characters.
inherent? Is we had any big inherent vice heads in here?
No, I saw it once.
That's another
I
kind of like what I would consider a lower end PTA movie.
Yeah, I
yeah.
saw it once, and I remember going like,
every fall.
clearly, I need to see it again because I didn't catch. And I was like, nah, I think I caught everything. I think I caught it. I think.
That's
But
a
yeah,
theme that might come back today too.
yeah, Licorice Pizza. Like, I'll maybe hit play because I truly do love PTA. Like, even
Just
his
watch it.
bad movies have like good things in them, and like you can pull stuff from it, but people wouldn't shut the fuck up about it, and I was like, oh fuck, I don't even want to watch this fucking movie anymore.
There's good things in the
It's
movie.
huh?
There's good things in the movie. It's just not what people were
Yeah,
talking about.
that's But how about you guys? Is there any movie that you had that begrudging sentiment towards it because of the fan?
PSH's son in that too, right?
Oh
Philip Seymour
yeah,
Hoffman's
this
son in that.
connects it to the movie
Sorry, I
later.
didn't mean.
Yeah.
That just made the connection.
Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
All right,
I was-
what else?
I was gonna say, like, I don't know if it's just because of how we mess around on Twitter in the film like realm of what it is now, and like being involved or used to be involved in like all the movie shows and YouTube and stuff like that. Any like Oscar nominated film, when you get that range where they get that, and everyone's like, I gotta watch the Oscar film.
Yeah,
I
gotta make sure I catch you on every Oscar movie. Yeah,
I don't know what, I can't give you a specific one on top of my head. I'm sure you guys will say them, but like every time that happens, they get sidetracked and thrown all the way to the back. So like when Yusuf was saying it, you see it on Amazon maybe like a year later. You're like, I really wanted to see this before all the Oscar stuff started happening, because like every person, because I don't know if it's just because they want to or it's the most popular thing to do, is be like, I can't wait to see this Oscar movie. And even when that Oscar movie isn't that fucking great, or something like that, like Licorice Pizza, even if it's not, everyone hyped it all up, and even if it's not as great as it was and it won an award, at that point in time, everyone's still going to be his dick, and it's just like I can't do it anymore, and that makes me miss a lot of good movies. And when I see them on the streaming, I'm like, I'm out. Can't do it.
Yeah, those like sit around, and especially those dramas, right? They just sit there, and then by the time they get there, you're like, I'm good. No one's.
Yeah, I'm less likely to watch a heavy drama anyway. It's just not why I watch movies. So like, there's movies that I know are good, and I don't necessarily go in for the Oscar movies like TJ was talking about. I'm kind of one of those like, I'll see a movie if I want to see it, but I'm not gonna see it just because it got nominated for an Oscar. If it doesn't interest me, I'm not gonna like. But if there's a movie I was on the fence about and then it got nominated for an Oscar, I might think about checking it out. But there are ones that I've like through not like a begrudging, not that I hold anything against them, but like they came out, they were the big Oscar darling, and they won everything, and then it's like now it's been a couple of years and they're not even nobody's really. It just doesn't feel like there's any pressing urgency to get back to them. You know what I mean?
What's up with the 3 Billboards?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a.
It's like what, like
a big one for me that I haven't got around to watching still, and it's like every year that passes and people aren't still talking about it makes it feel less necessary to run it back. It's
Yeah,
like,
the Frost
it's good.
effect.
If you watch it, you'd be like, yes, I concur. This is good. Like,
I'm weird. Like every other year, I feel like I watch all of the Oscar movies. Like one year we'll do it, and then the next year we won't, and then the next year we'll be like, oh, that looks like a fun thing to do.
Yeah,
and it could be fun, especially if it's a good grouping of films. Like it hasn't been very strong in the last few years, if you ask me. But it's like I'm not.
Nightmare Alley. That shit was trash.
Doing it and enjoying it, but the people who talk about it because they want people to know that they're doing it. That's like, oh, put on your social media. It's like, hey, I walked by a homeless guy today and I gave him $5 and a hoagie. Like, you could just do it and not say a fucking word. And then, like, when, it's like someone asks, like, what'd you do? Like, oh, it comes up as a natural conversation starter or piece. And this one, just like, I'm going to say it and I hope I get at least like 3 likes. That'd be sick.
Yeah. It's like when a celebrity dies, it's like, R.I.P. Brian. Like, you didn't know Brian.
Nobody knew Brian.
I saw him once at a Pathmark, and he was buying carrots. Good guy.
He was so kind.
Oh yeah, or I love the one somebody dies and they're like, oh, I only ever knew this person from insert shitty thing they did for a paycheck that's like garbage. I didn't realize they were in all these and name 10 classics. Like, shut up. Like, just don't. If the only thing you know somebody from is some garbage, you can just not say anything. You don't have to be like, oh, I didn't know they were also in good things.
That's like when the church in France was burning, and people were just posting pictures. And it was like, oh, I was just there.
This is when I went to France.
Whoa. Memories, baby, memories.
That's so crazy.
Like, can't believe I flicked my lit cigarette in there. I guess I shouldn't have.
What? That wasn't me.
Joe, you have any movies?
Yeah, for me, it's fucking Scott Pilgrim. I can't stand that fucking movie, and it's amplified by the people that like it.
Thank you.
I like it.
Oh man, if it weren't for Shaun of the Dead, I so bad wanted to put Edgar Wright on my one-hit wonder list. I was like, you got saved. You're a 2-hit wonder.
Cannot.
You got
just like
so close. Oh, that close.
Just not like. Not for me. I know, like, this theme of this episode for me is like saying things I've revisited. Nope, I'm good. Don't need it. It's not like it has the effect of like how people are like Juno, so quirky. Same fucking lane of movie. It's like, guess what? It's not that creative. It's just a lot of bright colors. And Edgar Wright has made a few good movies, and he's not. Weirdly enough, you
just are a kid who likes video game aesthetic. You were 16 when it came out, and you like video game aesthetic. You've never seen it used that way before. This is not interesting or good.
Edgar Wright is the nerd version of PTA.
Yeah, kind of.
Like
he's like millennial PTA.
Yeah, like, oh, good, okay. You guys like this, or just like the name that's attached to the fucking movie? Like, I tweeted out the same lane. Actually, you know what the same lane I'm becoming in? Fucking A24 stands. People that are like, oh, that movie, gotta check it out, A24, drop bangers. And I'm like, you don't even know what that shit is. 3 years ago.
Hey, man, a production company put it out. It must be good. What?
Well, the worst part about that is I remember seeing someone talk, and they're like, yeah, like A24 movies, like Parasite. And I'm like, that's by Neon, which is a company kind of mimicking what A24 is doing.
They didn't make it either.
They didn't make it either. You're a moron.
They just distributed it because it was made in Korea.
And I saw a thing recently. A24 has made their movies, but like, released movies, but none of them are the ones that like are the acclaimed ones. They're all like, no one's going to see them. They're all scraping by.
Hereditary.
Yeah. But anyway, that's more my pick than fucking, because now I'm starting to get like annoyed with A24, just how people talk about it, and the fact that that company has the nerve to sell $75 baseball caps with a shitty logo on it.
Joe's mad because he wanted baseball. We finally got down to it. Joe's mad because he wanted a baseball cap. It's too expensive. He didn't like that.
I really want a fucking baseball cap for me.
So I like that we got to the root of it.
No, but they do have an online, like they're online. They have a subscription service that you pay a monthly to just get into buying from the store earlier and like maybe like 5% cheaper.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people who like Synecdoche, New York are signed
Yeah.
up.
Oh, this is the crowd. I might put the A24 logo on the thumbnail just to.
That would be amazing.
They'd be like, "Wow, I didn't know."
A24 presents Flyover.
I didn't know. I didn't know Schenecdoche, New York was an A24 movie. It must have been an early one.
Yeah.
Charlie Kaufman is the CEO of A24.
Oh, he's
my answer for this one is I guess I went more to the like just kind of fandom acclaim of them is the later Mission Impossible movies. Like I saw the first 3, and then I was like, fine, whatever. And then the 4th one came out, and everybody's like, this is the best thing. Oh my gosh. But it was also like the same time that everybody was telling me that Fast 5 was the best thing. And I saw that and it was Garbaggio. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna skip the Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. And then they kept coming out, and like, I don't know. I don't like that Tom Cruise like buys his way out of being a weird cult leader creep by doing these stunts. And I don't like that like he gets this gee whiz, wow shucks, what an action hero. But no, the dude is a creepy cult leader. He's a fucking weird creep who like got into weird contractual relationships with women and fucked up their lives and careers. He's not a good person. He's a very bad person with a very big smile, and I don't care if he almost kills himself doing a stupid movie. There's a billion other action movies out there that I could watch. I don't need to watch the Mission Impossible sequels. Shut the fuck up about the Mission Impossible sequels.
Tom Cruise is awesome, man. He's so
dude, but did you see Maverick? Dude, he's Tom Cruise again.
Dude, cinema is back. It's funny.
Cruise.
I liked Ghost Protocol. Like it was a fun movie. It was Brad Bird. And then like even like Rogue Nation, like with who's the fucking woman who was anyway, very good. Since then I've had like ADHD every time I've turned one of those ones on. I'm like, I don't know, this is long and boring, like our last topic.
I feel the same way about the Bond movies too. I'm like, I'm not gonna ever be getting into James Bond.
I haven't seen the last one.
You can skip me when you're talking about James Bond.
Yeah, that was good.
I think anybody honorable mentions, or we want to get into the greatest movie of all time?
I don't think I have any honorable mentions off the top of my head.
All right, so like our next film, the ending has been baked into the beginning. How about we end this podcast with New York?
So as I used to say, Synecdoche, New York, until I realized Synecdoche, New York. So here's the thing,
guys. Right? Much like everything else in this movie, this is a pretentious play on words.
Yes, it's the greater meaning. Is the whole.
Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman represents us a whole. I get it.
I picked this movie because I've been like really immersed into the rehearsal, and everything I'm reading is, just like referencing that movie. And I was like, I saw this like on VOD in like 2008, and I remember not liking it, but at the same time, it was junior or freshman year of sophomore year of high school.
Nerds told you that it was good. Even though you didn't like it, so you thought there must be something wrong with me.
So, and I like to do that from time to time. I'm sure that's not the first pick I've done that with, where I say I remember it, and then I apologize because, like, honestly, every note is just like the movie where they just want to fuck like everyone wants to fuck Philip Seymour Hoffman. And,
My wife was so mad about that.
and it's so up its own
She's
ass.
like, why would anybody want to fuck him?
He's an artist.
Emily Watson's just standing here, and like, why? She just couldn't wrap her mind around it.
I get it.
It's like, even if he wasn't like the most unlikable person on the planet in this movie, is like the most void of a black hole of a personality. But then also, like, they give him all these gross physical ailments. That's like a constant thing going on in the movie.
So
I like that about the movie, though. The gross, the constant appearances of like different ailments.
That's the thing that interests me. That could be in a movie about like all the weird little things that we all like that people deal with personally that they don't ever talk about with other people. I could get into something about that. I can see that.
Well, you know what the cool thing about so this movie is not for this podcast at all, and this movie is also very much up its own ass. Like, but there are cool things in it, and I think the ailments it is a cool thing that, like if you compare him to his wife, like in the very beginning, she's coughing and she dies of lung cancer, and she never gave a fuck about her cough. Compared to him, he's like constantly obsessing with through everything except the things that are actually bothering him. Like he's like obsessing over every single thing, and suddenly he has like pus on his face, and his daughter's like, "What the hell's on your face?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. It's just," and it's just like both of them end up in the same place. Both of them die of their ailments, but it's like showcasing like she didn't give a fuck. She never went to the doctor and she died. He always gave a fuck. He's always at the doctor's, obsessing. He didn't live his life. The doctor's
always going,
and he still died. So it's like, who gives a fuck? Great movie.
I'm gonna read. I'm gonna pull a little fear out of this, and I'm just gonna read the synopsis blindly, just to give us instead of trying to do a mental rundown. See if this gives us any semblance of what the fuck we watched.
How they try to tell you what the movie's about. The movie would actually be about. I mean, the movie's about. That's the problem with the Charlie Kaufman stuff is that like, and this is what I don't know how much we're gonna talk about it, but
Can I read this?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and read the synopsis.
Life is looking pretty bleak for the theater director Caden Cotard. Worst name. His wife and daughter have left him.
Cotard syndrome is a thing where you think you're dead and blah blah blah.
His therapist is more interested in plugging her new book than helping him with his problems, and a strange disease is causing his body to shut down. Caden leaves his home in Synecdoche, New York, and heads to New York City, where he gathers a cast of actors and tells them to live their lives within constructs of a mock-up city. Not exactly what the movie is about.
No, that makes it sound like a quirky rom-com or something. Like, you know, my thing, what I was gonna say was, my problem with this movie is that in trying to make it about such a large concept and make it so broad to encapsulate so many ideas, it gets to a point where it's not really about anything. And by his own admission, Charlie Kaufman leaves he doesn't explain it, he leaves it open, but you have to give it a structure to where it could be about something, or it just becomes about anything. And then it's like a painting where somebody comes up, it's like 4 squares on a canvas, and one person thinks it's whatever, and one person thinks it's art, and you just have to go by who sounds the most confident and who has the most clout. And it's like, I know this movie's about things, and I know that people, but like, you left it open enough that it's like everybody's right and also no one is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
and
like, I feel like the beginning of the movie, if it would have stayed in that sense, in that train, so the entire movie is in the same train tracks, but the beginning of the movie, it's very well made in the sense that it's playing with it's fucking around with time, it's fucking around with perception, but in a way that is still within the reality. That if viewer is not paying attention to it, he's not gaining from it. Like, literally, the beginning of the movie, like the clock, the radio voice is constantly saying, "It's Tuesday, it's Thursday, it's October, it's November," and it's essentially like him being stuck in his routine to the point that time just flies by, even though he's still in the same morning.
The first cracks, right?
Yeah,
that's a good point about the time, and like in the first cracks of the movie, I feel like are when Michelle Williams, right, like goes buys that house and it's on fire and it's totally like yeah, well, I always wanted to live here, and this is how like
Yeah,
I've
that's when
chosen
it
to
starts
die.
showing.
That's kind
That's
of
when
when
they
it
get into
starts.
the real. That's like again like when it's stretching into the more absurdist stuff
Yeah,
too.
that's
Like
the
really.
first one, because at first it's just like, okay, this guy has issues with his wife and his daughter, and like he gets his head injury, and then like even the flirtations are like, not this many people want to fuck this guy, are normal until that fucking house shows up.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
Yeah, that's I guess your first real surreal kind of thing in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I do like a lot of the details in the movie. Like the stalker is always kind of in the background, following him
I
around.
actually like the burning house thing too, but I also understand like it's another one thing that.
But it would have
Even
been
though the movie
cool
has
if it's
other
like
stuff in there, it almost feels a little out of place, or maybe it comes a little too early or something.
But it
That
would
was
have been cool if it's that and a few other moments. It's just like it just goes like full deep end in the towards the end, where that surreal moment just feels stupid or feels very small compared to just the absurd nature that it becomes in the end, where the play on the play on the play on the play and the play on the
yeah.
play on the play.
Then it just gets to a point where, you know, it's yeah, well, it's like is there's no play anymore. This is just his fucking life, and he's dying here, and people are now living here with the decay of like the set they built.
Yeah.
And it gets
But
to the point where he isn't even living his own life anymore.
no,
Like,
No,
he's a
he
side
gave himself a
character in
character.
the
he's
movie.
now
Or
just a
That's
character.
that's the other thing that happens throughout the movie. I didn't catch that in the beginning, in the first time I watched it, and the second time I watched it, like there's a lot of like it plays a lot with life and death and blah 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 and time, but also with like being misunderstood. Like there's he's always saying something and somebody else is understanding something else. And in the beginning of the movie, when he's having like that seizure, the 911
Yeah, she
call,
calls him ma'am or something.
ma'am.
Hmm.
So from the entire movie, there's multiple sequences and multiple moments where he's being misgendered.
yeah,
Um,
and
and
like
then in the end, he
sexuality
plays a
too.
woman to close out the movie, essentially.
Yeah,
So
and
I
you have that
guess
whole
he's
scene
also
where his daughter
commentating on
like
like,
forces him to admit he's a homosexual, even though he's not. But and then she
And
doesn't forgive him anyway. You
then he
know?
watches his daughter like strip like at one
yeah, that
point,
was
and it's very like
Yeah, all
it's
the
so
stuff with
heady at certain times. So I
I
guess I
kind of
want
wish it would have picked between doing stuff with like the weird shit with his family and the big play. Like
to.
I feel like you could have brought down the stuff with the play a little bit, tightened it up to just more of the characters, like the fake version of him, and then you end up with the fake version of Hazel and so on. Um, and kept that a little smaller and then like balanced it a little more with the stuff with his family. I feel like that the play stuff gets so unwieldy, and then you
yeah, it would
only
have been
sporadically come back to the stuff I would have made. Maybe it would have worked a little better for me if that stuff was a little more balanced.
it would have worked
Yeah,
better if like the blur of the line would have been him replacing his family life through the play. So
that's
essentially like
that's what you
casting
think's
his
gonna happen.
wife, his daughter through the play, and then you start blurring the line that way instead of literally blurring the entire world around you. Which I get it. Art imitates life.
The movie goes on just so many tangents.
Yeah.
Speaking
Like,
of tangents, okay, this is gonna seem reductive, but that's okay because nobody's gonna watch that cares. I was thinking about how in this movie, Charlie Kaufman is like the Joe Rogan, where he's like, I'm just asking questions. I mean, like, what if, man? And just like, I'm just presenting scenarios, and hey, draw your own conclusions, bro. I mean, do your own research.
dude, the
I,
thing,
I
it's a
get his
good
point. I get his point. Like you shouldn't force feed um
well,
a definition in the end. A definition in the end. But
I've
there
watched plenty of movies that have like are open to interpretation that are still like that still make sense and have a plot that moves forward and kind of
yeah,
gives you something
but
to.
I
but
like so
still
I
you should still as a writer, director, producer, whatever, have something that you want to say. And I
yeah
feel
we
like outside of like, what do you get from this, bro? Tell me. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm saying too. Is it feels like
Mhm.
he didn't have a handle on what he was trying to say with it. He just
Yeah,
was
it's
like,
vibing.
here's some stuff I want to do,
so
some things I think are interesting, and here's some stuff I want to present to people to make them feel emotions, but I don't necessarily know how it all ties together.
so
You know?
yeah, I think honestly, he has maybe because he didn't direct these, he has better messages in movies. Because whenever you watch a Charlie Kaufman movie, you're watching Charlie Kaufman just with a different name, except for an adaptation. I think adaptation is just does this message of this movie better and more concise of like what Charlie Kaufman
adaptation
thinks
is
of himself.
Adaptation is very much him talking about himself, and somebody else directed that movie. So it's very concise.
Like, Eternal Sunshine's great, but somebody else, Michel Gondry, directed that.
It's very inward.
So yeah, the movie. I don't know. I guess what I want to ask to kind of like sum it up, because we all have the same kind of, I guess, like meh to it. What was because I know there's one aspect of this I did really enjoy, and it was so what is one part of the movie that you could take good from it that you enjoyed? Like I enjoyed every scene and part with Tom Noonan. I thought
I think really become the patrons. He might have surpassed now. He's like the patron saint of Flyover.
Yeah,
like he's been in so many Flyover movies.
Him and Atkins are fighting for it.
Like him showing up and like
I don't think TJ has spoken a single word. Did you watch this movie, TJ?
First of all, when you say watch, I'll give you my definition of what happened with me with this film. There's two things with this. I have a TJ brain, and some people might define that as stupid with the type of films that I watch. So I've never seen adaptation. I've never seen being John Malkovich. I've never seen his type of style. I watched.
Have you ever seen Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind?
I've seen it once, and I get it. I did watch it during a breakup, and that was just the fucking dumbest idea of all time.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah. But
worst time to watch it.
We watched it at work because my coworker has been wanting to watch this since college. He said he couldn't find it forever, and so we threw it on. And obviously, you guys know what I went through this past couple weeks. With the very beginning, everything's death.
Yeah.
I'm good on this. And then also, I'm on my own little sober journey, Joe. And God damn you, if I didn't wish I had something during this. I'm just like this, like. I turned it on, I zoned out, and I'm watching, and like 25
seconds washing over TJ's.
No, and it's not anything that was bad or anything. No, but Noel's loving it. Noel's cracking up and like just enjoying it. And I'm sitting here like this, 25 minutes of shake, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? He's like, you've been watching? I was like, I think I've been watching it the whole fucking time.
You say it's cracking up. There are definitely moments. This is a very kind of depressing movie, but there are moments of absurdist levity that do make me laugh out loud a couple times. Where I'm like, nah, I'm like shit like that makes me laugh.
I like the moment where
you guys are doing great, so I'll just let you flow.
The moment he's reading the book and the therapist is next to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you want to go fuck? And she's like, not really. This is the end of the book. And it's like, no more pages.
I offered it to you, like, this book is over now.
This book is over. Fuck you then. No more. But yeah, Joe, your original question, like things that you liked. What is things that you liked? What is a moment you liked? Or something you liked from it?
I was just saying, the Tom Noonan. Everything.
Oh, Tom Noonan, right.
That's truly the only thing I pulled away from it. And then even like, I think Brian kind of mentioned it early, this movie would have benefited so much if like they kept with the first family. Like Catherine Keener, I think, needed to stay around and not just be random voiceovers every now and then.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I liked. The contrast of, I felt like needed more contrast between him and his wife, because not only like the sickness, like their arts is a very good contrast. Like his art keeps like expanding and becoming like too.
She's getting smaller and smaller.
And she keeps like getting smaller and smaller. And there's like quote from her, like when he's reading the books, is like, it's simple. I see something and I paint it. That's I'm like, she's not overthinking life. She's not overdoing it. So that aspect I really did enjoy. But outside of that, it's just like it's the type of movie that is not shy about its central message being like, life and time and don't overthink it and blah blah blah. But it just keeps bashing you over the head with it to the point that you go like, I get it, man.
It's that thing we were talking about when I was complaining about Midnight Mass, where it's like we get it. You read a book once. Like, I get you. Like, you took intro to philosophy, and you have some like things
exactly.
you want to get in here and whatever. Like,
But I
that's what
feel
I
like
always feel like when I'm watching stuff like this. It's like, oh wow, you know what I mean? Like, you got a couple little college courses under your belt, and you're like, my first thoughts. You know,
as I'm
like,
watching it, he's like, while we're like have it on, because it's always like on and customers will come in and stuff like that. But he's like watching an interview with Charlie Kaufman talking about this, and just getting in like 3 minutes into that, it was like the same thing where it's like he hypnotized me. I was like,
Mhm.
I had no idea what's happening, but it's like I was just saying, like you hear him talk and you automatically know exactly what type of movie he's gonna fucking write
Yep.
or make, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
you've
I
seen
think-
your character straight out of the film, so it only makes fucking sense.
I prefer.
I think I've got my Charlie
I
Kaufman
think I'm
feel
thinking
for
of
the year.
ending things or whatever the fuck that was named. The last one that he made.
oh, the one that was on Netflix.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still very ethereal, but it has a more of a grounded central theme of
Clement's
that.
in it.
Yeah, the girl from Men is in it. The woman.
I really like her, Jessie Buckley. I really like
Jessie
her. She's in the fourth season of Fargo, also.
I haven't seen that one. That's the Chris Rock one, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Hmm.
Let's go into the ratings.
Oh, I don't get to say anything I like. Fine, I don't like anything. Fuck you.
Yeah,
man.
Brian,
I
what
don't
did you like? What did
care.
you
No,
like?
whatever. My opinion doesn't matter. Shit.
Yusuf has his mental clock, and clearly we're right on time with it.
Right on time, baby.
But I'm curious, what did you like about the movie?
This is one of those things where it's like you mentioned Tom Noonan. I was gonna say everybody, like, a movie like this, an auteur director, a weirdo with like heady, pretentious, he's gonna draw like artists. So
Yeah.
like almost every part in this movie is cast pretty impressively.
Mhm.
I'm not familiar with the girl who plays Harriet, or
He's,
Hazel. It's
He's
Hazel.
Hazel.
Yeah.
He's
She the one who got naked.
No, that's Emily Watson. That's the fake Hazel.
Okay.
No,
I'm talking about the original first Hazel. I don't think I'm
Yeah, I'm not
familiar with
familiar with her either.
Minority Report.
Minority Report. She's in
She's the one that sees the visions.
Oh, she's one of the pod
The Tub
people.
Girl.
Okay, Tub Girl.
Don't
Okay.
Google Tub Girl.
Well,
Or Google
anyway,
Tub Girl.
but not. But
Don't,
that,
Harrison,
I will
if you're
say there are
listening,
some
don't Google it.
There's some cool stuff in this, like production-wise and visually. Like when you get into the world of like his set and stuff, and there's some cool stuff visually there that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Like that, I think is.
Very spiked.
Again, I talked about making the movie smaller, but then again, it's like stuff like that is important to the ideas in the movie. Is like how big and how unwieldy it gets and kind of out of his control. This is much like when we talked about Brazil. This is a movie that I can recognize the craft, I can recognize the art, I can recognize why some people get something out of it, but it's never going to work for me.
It don't work for me. So unlike Brazil, Yusuf gets a lot out of Brazil. Myself, not so much with Synecdoche, New York, or Synecdoche.
Synecdoche, New York. It's about Irish people.
Literally, that's how I like read it to myself for
I kept
last
saying
10 years.
syndicate for some reason.
Yeah.
Synecdoche.
Ratings phase.
Yeah, now ratings.
Ratings.
TJ.
Yeah, TJ, just throw a number out there.
Yeah, it's not very fair for me to put this movie down, so I'm just gonna sit it at a 6. I like Philip Seymour Hoffman because he reminds me.
Yeah.
He always makes me think I'm gonna look like him when I get a little bit older. Hopefully not. Or last longer. Anyway,
Yeah, you're gonna be just Jesse Plemons. I think you're Jesse Plemons. Right?
I think you're good. And in Jesse Plemons, I mean, you got Kirsten Dunst and a
I'm losing weight. God damn it.
Okay,
I'm
you look
not.
good.
Yeah,
Give us a number.
6.
Okay.
Brian.
Fucking.
Oof, I don't know. I don't think I can get this movie as high as 6. I mean, like I said, I recognize quality about it and stuff, but like it's still a fucking slog to me, and it's like really, really up its own ass, and just like in love with how smart it is and everything, and its ideas. But like I said, it's so wide open that all it has is ideas. It doesn't say anything about those ideas. It just presents them, and then it's like, there you go. So I'll probably put this in at like a 5. Just a real middle of the road kind of meh from me.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there, like a 5.5. Just um, very very well made. It's like the type of movie that you enjoy if you enjoy dissecting the technical side of movies, like how they got that shot,
How am I the lowest on this one?
how they edited it, dissecting the
I think
acting,
me and Yusuf are giving him a lot of credit for like
the actually making the movie.
yeah I think a lot of my number is coming from like the production quality and stuff of the
Yeah, and
movie.
the acting, like Philip Seymour Hoffman, like fucking eats
Yeah.
that role.
Everybody's nailing it really.
Yeah, so
boring.
we're just gonna give this one a 4.7 bathroom pipes to the head.
We didn't even fucking give it a funny.
No, I'm sorry. 5 green poops from the little girl.
Yeah, it was literally the same thing I remember. I'm like, I my brain hasn't changed that much since I've been 15 or
And it would be
16
so easy
or
for
whatever.
somebody to sit down and watch this podcast and be like, look at these 4 dumb guys who didn't get it.
I mean, we said the central themes, and I try to sound smart with the
for our Indian audience. Our big Indian audience.
Yeah, our huge Indian audience is going to be really disappointed in us this week, guys.
Ooh, here's the Flyover follow-up. Can't wait what they do.
This is like when all Joe's family members tuned in for that one episode after the wedding. We got that bump. The Joe wedding bump.
So what, so all right, let's wash our hands with this one. We were on a hot run. I cooled us off. What is everyone's, what's your next pick, Yusuf? What do you got for us?
I'm excited.
So I usually pick good movies. I'm weird like that. So how about we pick a good movie to change it up a little bit?
You think it should be fun and not a chore? What the
Yeah,
hell?
I was gonna say,
podcasting is serious business, Yusuf.
So I'm gonna pick a Meryl Streep movie. I'm either in between Sophie's Choice or we're gonna watch Death Becomes Her.
All right.
Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis, Goldie Hawn. I was gonna hit play the other day. Wife has never seen it. She's like, "Ooh, that's Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn." I was like, "You've never seen this movie? We're gonna watch it."
Intro into the movie recording again September.
Huh?
Bunker of Death Becomes Her hidden away in the old Flyover files if you go back far enough.
I've never seen it. I can't wait.
Oh, that's
cool. Yeah, you did it with Kimberly, right?
Yeah, me and Kimber did one.
Yeah.
I'll listen to it so as not to repeat myself.
Yeah.
And also I love the sound of my own voice.
We all do. So
yeah, That Becomes Her, man. Another fun cult classic. Hopefully, it's an uplifting watch. If you never watch it, you like it. If you don't, you're not my friend anymore. Cool. Where can the people find you, Brian?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at Herskilles, and that's pretty much it. That's where I'm at.
TJ.
You guys find me on Twitter at TJDex and also on Flyover to the Film YouTube, and we just dropped Joe. You said Brian just dropped it, right? Prey in the Gray.
We did. We did a little flyby. Prey and Gray versus Prey.
And you can find me here, Flyover State of Fear. We have Katie from Werewolf Ambulance returning to discuss another movie that kind of fell flat for us. I don't even remember. Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky. And there was a fun talk though. So
I definitely remember like the television lead up, like the previews on TV for Fire in the Sky. So, I don't know if I ever saw the actual movie.
So I will when we hang up, I'll say what we said in the episode because it basically kind of talk about that a bit and I message it. So
saved me from watching the episode. Thanks.
Exactly. So I don't recommend the movie. That's why I don't even say like watch
the episode because we're entertaining even when we talk about bad movies.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Bigger guns.